All right, have and have not fans, No Honor in This Game came on last night, and for the first time in quite a while, I actually was at home watching the show with my mom. I was live tweeting, so to everybody that was on Twitter with me, having fun, just talking about the episode, thanks for joining. And as always, check the description in these videos because I always have links to my Twitter, Instagram, Facebook group for the haves and have-nots, and all my other social media. So go down there to the description of this video, follow me on Twitter, Instagram if you haven't done so already, as well as hit that subscribe button. Now, first off, I don't want to apologize because I did put this in the community tab. I actually haven't posted a video since Saturday. This is probably the first time in a while that I've had a mini vacation. I actually went home from like the middle of Saturday after I dropped a couple of videos. Then I just got back this morning. My mom didn't want me to leave, but the thing was I only had enough clothes for 2 days. I only planned on staying until maybe Monday morning or something like that. But yeah, she ended up fixing a big meal like ribs, macaroni, mashed potatoes, cabbage. Yeah, I barely could move after eating that, but I had enough strength to tweet. So with that being said, this episode, I actually feel kind of conflicted. It wasn't a bad episode. It really wasn't. I actually did enjoy it. I'm debating between giving it a score of an 8.5 or a 9. Well, maybe by the time I finish doing this video and, I have my thoughts out there, out in the open, maybe that'll help me decide on a score. So let's talk about the episode. You know how I do. I'm going to review it. I might skim over some details because I'll be doing more detailed videos throughout the week. I can't say this enough. Tyler Perry, just thank you so much for ending an episode with a cliffhanger and then picking up exactly where you left off. This has been one thing that's been irking me and a lot of fans since the season began because, it was all about the car wreck. Did Veronica and Melissa survive? And we thought that coming into 2018, oh, dang, that first episode, we're going to get a lot of information about the car wreck. No, in that first episode, we got like 10 or 15 minutes of Justin and Jeffrey, and then the last not even 30 seconds of the episode was dedicated to the car wreck. But here we go again with Justin and Jeffrey and Veronica. Now, the only thing I really have to say about this scene is the fact that, so we're in season 5, and Veronica is still in denial that her son is gay. And even more so, she thinks that Justin is the reason that Jeffrey is the way he is, which makes no sense. Because if you remember, what was it like in season 3? I want to say it's season 3, when Veronica showed up at the Sarandon Hotel and saw Landon and Jeffrey in the hallway. Veronica giving her threats and all this, calling Landon a little girl and basically, being Veronica. And to shut her up, Jeffrey literally put his arms around Landon and kissed him right in front of Veronica and his mom, and that made her freeze in her tracks. So if Landon was the Justin, with Jeffrey right now, would Veronica have been blaming Landon for making Jeffrey gay? That was one thing I didn't get about that scene because my dad was actually watching the episode, but then he got up and left because he didn't like seeing two men kiss. So yeah, there's that. And trust me, I didn't like seeing it either. And don't talk crap about my dad in the comments. So yeah, we're not doing that. But basically, I really don't know what else to say about that scene. The fact that she is still this episode was full of delusional characters, and I'll get to that, later in this video. But yeah, the fact that she still thinks that something is wrong with her son. Now, like I said before in previous videos about Jeffrey and Justin, now, even though I'm not a fan of their characters or two, guys going at it on screen, I've never once said that there's anything wrong with them in regards to being gay. No, but, obviously Jeffrey has repressed anger issues, and Justin, number one, never wants to admit that he is gay. Number two is quite obsessive. So there's that. But when it comes down to these characters, they finally, if you will, scared Veronica off. But something tells me I told my mom that she should get a Twitter or something to talk, because I know you all would love chatting it up with her, because if you love talking with me, listening to these videos, tweeting me, you would love her thoughts as well. But she was just like, man, hey, she might be the one to kill Justin because she thinks that Justin is the illness that's making her son sick with being a homosexual. She has some good wordplay. That's probably where I get it from. But look at the fact that she got rid of Maggie Day. So it would not surprise me if she got rid of Justin. Now, whether or not that's before she finds out that Justin was the one that hit her, then, we'll have to wait and see. But overall, that opening scene, I just like the fact that we're picking up where we left off. And then Veronica leaves, and then Jeffrey and Justin have their talk. And I like that Jeffrey was just like, so what am I to you? And it's just like, well, you're mine. And then you're mine. That's the part that kills me. Even though Justin is obsessive, crazy, and I don't like his character, you have to admit that Jeffrey seems to just be using Justin. And that's a video coming up. I actually have that on my list, because before I started recording this video, I went ahead, wrote down a list of video ideas. I got all the pictures I need. And also, the OWN TV YouTube channel have not uploaded the trailer for next week. So I don't know if my trailer breakdown video is going to be coming today or later this week. So I just wanted to make you aware of that. But yeah, you have to admit that Jeffrey does seem to be using Justin like, oh, you want to stay? Then you're going to have to see this. And, he goes on like, I had a moment of weakness and this and that. But of course, I'll go into more detail in the video talking about how this Justin and Jeffrey thing first started, because initially, it really was Jeffrey using Justin. But that's another video. We'll get to that later. And I have to admit that this is probably the first episode in quite some time where I literally laughed out loud multiple times in the episode. Like when it's like, you're mine, we're together for life. Now I'm going to go fix some dinner. I was done. Like when Justin said that and got up, I was done. Then we talk about Jim and Jim and Catherine. Basically, I'm skipping around now. I'm going to skip around. Jim and Catherine. Jim is chewing out Oscar for the money not being in the account. So I'm guessing that Candace either changed the account numbers or something, but yeah, the Crier Company, I would probably think, I don't think Oscar, put it this way, I would have been thinking the same way Oscar would be. But yeah, I doubt that the money is going to be in the account by the time that Oscar initiates whatever plan it is. Because remember that Candace wants Benny, well, actually, Candace is going to transfer the money. Okay, you know what? I'm sorry about this. This is usually not my style of doing reviews. This is more freestyle, but this is one thing that kind of irked me. All right, so a couple episodes ago, I want to say it was 2 weeks ago, Hannah walks out of the front of Catherine's house because she's gotten off of work. Then Derek shows up with the flowers because, remember, Catherine told him to show up at 6 to check the sprinklers and that lilies were Hannah's favorite flowers. So she said, hey, I get off at 6, okay, and I got to go home to fix dinner for Benny. So that was 6 p.m. Remember, I did that video talking about how much time passed in that episode because Vinny was supposed to wake up Wyatt the next morning after, the bank would have opened up for him to actually withdraw the money to pay him back, because I think he overdrew his limit for the day. But when it comes to that was supposed to happen in the morning. So you know how I criticized the episode about it's 6 p.m., but then, Wyatt was strung out. There was no way Vinny was going to give him the drugs around midnight and then let Wyatt sleep it off for a solid, 12, about 18 hours. There's no way it would have went down that way. All right, so what I'm thinking is it was 6 p.m. a couple weeks ago. You're telling me that at the end of the episode, when Benny was at the bar and then saw, Benny's body on the floor, and he's like, hey, you all right, man? My man. And then the guy comes out of the back and tells him, hey, what do you, we don't open up until 7, because I went back and watched that scene 4 times. He said 7. So you're telling me from 2 episodes ago to the end of this one, it hasn't even been 1 hour? Now you're telling me an hour has not passed. Now, again, I watch anime, Dragon Ball Z, you know how Frieza was like, oh, I shot an energy blast at the core of the planet. It's going to be 5 minutes before it explodes. and then that 5 minutes stretched out for like a good 8-10 episodes or something. And then in the Tournament of Power and Dragon Ball Super, the fight was supposed to be like 48 minutes, but then now it's stretched out for probably like 30 some episodes. But in this context, it is kind of ridiculous because it looks like it is pitch black outside. So even though, remember, these episodes are supposed to be taking place in 2013 because not even a solid 3 months have passed in the haves and have nots timeline, then okay, wait. So it would still be daylight savings time, so it would be nighttime early. So technically speaking, yes, it should be pitch black. But the fact that not an hour has passed, that is just crazy to think about. So Hannah had time to make it back home. How long was that movie she was watching with Derek? Or was it a TV show? Because she had time to get home, talk with Derek, talk with Melissa. Benny comes in, she chews him out. Candace comes by. Oh wow, guys, I'm sorry. The time, let me know in the comments, has anybody else been paying attention to that? That's been driving me crazy. If the guy at the bar said we don't open up until 11, a few things with that, I would wonder what bar doesn't open up until 11 p.m. But also, talking about the end of the episode, I get it. You see a black guy standing in the middle of your bar before it's open, then you see a dead body, you're instantly going to think that he did it. But I got a problem with that. If that guy heard Benny, calling out, hey, my man, he pretty much said a couple of things. They're like, hey, somebody come help. Wouldn't you hear, if there was some kind of altercation, like a fight, wouldn't you hear the fight going on and then come out from the back to see what was happening? That doesn't make sense to me. Okay, I'm sorry. Please forgive me. I'm sorry. Like I said, I'm kind of going off the top of my head, but there were just so many things about this episode that kind of nitpicky, but that's probably why I feel conflicted on what to score the episode. Okay. Let me try to get back on track. All right. Let's just start simple. Okay, we did get a nice scene. Okay, is it just me, or did anybody else love that scene between Hannah and Derek just sitting on the couch? Like I said before, I don't know if it was a TV show or a movie, but they were just having a nice moment. Derek was talking about how I really like you. Oh, you're kicking me out. And yeah, I'll see you later. I'm thinking to myself, yeah, you're probably going to see each other tomorrow at work. So there's that. So, they kiss, and then Benny brings his ass in there, and God, it was stupid. Like, literally, I want to like Benny's character, but you're giving me nothing to work with, Tyler Perry. Like, literally, every episode, he's an asshole. Derek was like, hey, Benny. And, also, Keith, the guy that plays Derek, very nice guy. You should definitely follow him on Twitter. If I can, I'm going to go back through my tweets and see if I can get a screenshot of the tweet he sent me. I actually tweeted him a couple times about the show, like do you think that your sons will be able to meet with Hannah, Benny at some point, and what about Candace? And he's like, yeah, I love that one big happy family. And also I tweeted him about Benny's lucky that Derek doesn't put him in his place or beat his behind, because remember, David almost beat him once before. So these old men on the show, you can't underestimate them. He gave such a well-written answer, and like I said before, I'm going to try to go through my tweets and find it so I can screenshot it and put it on here for you all to see. Very nice guy. I definitely suggest, if you have the time, go on Twitter, follow him, send him a tweet. At least for me, he's responded back to everything I sent him. But either way, down to earth dude, awesome character. But like I said before, it's rubbing me the wrong way because I want to like him, but I just feel like he's going to burn me at one point. At some point, him not being who he appears to be. So he left. Then we have Candace walking in, and I don't know why, but for some reason, Candace seemed more attractive than ever for quite some. I don't know, for maybe the first time in several episodes, I found her attractive. Maybe it was the heels she was wearing. Maybe it was the way she just strutted into the house and talked with Benny. Maybe it was because for once she wasn't a total bitch, like pulling off that pimp persona. It was her coming to her little brother and still giving Hannah the cold shoulder. And I will give Benny points for trying to make Candace say hello to mommy, and she didn't do it. Then Hannah left, and then my Heart eyes for Candace begin to slowly turn into a face of dissent as the lies just came pouring out her mouth. Benny, again, I'll give him points for saying like, look, you've burned me before and this and that. And the lies, just a few $1,000s. And I will get to the money thing when we get to the scene where she calls in the troops in her hotel room. But it's just killing me that Candace is just lying and lying and lying. And then when the rug gets, pulled out from under her, we're supposed to feel sorry for her, but I don't. Now, here comes the second part of the episode that had me in tears laughing. When that fool Benny's like, Candace, I got $85 in my account. We need that money. I was laughing my ass off. My mom was laughing. She took her glasses off. She was crying. We were rolling at that line. So Tyler Lepley, that delivery was awesome. Just like Nicholas James, who was playing Justin, is like, now I'm going to fix some dinner. Those two lines had me rolling. Like, I'm trying not to, I'm talking kind of slow. I'm trying not to laugh right now because I know I'll just start laughing like 5 or 10 minutes because that had me rolling. $85. So I was telling my mom, like, first of all, this is further proof that A, Benny should have invested that money in the tow truck to make more money. B, Benny could have invested that $45,000 or something. He didn't even have to get $20,000 of interest. I think it was like it was either $12,000, $15,000 or $18,000 of interest. I forgot all the top of my head, but he could have worked and made that money. It's just crazy. $85. Oh man. Okay, let me stop. But either way, that was a hilarious scene. So basically, Benny is going to text Candace the information to his account. She's going to make the transfer. And my question is this: if she plans on moving all that money and then lies to Benny about only being a few $1,000s, what is Candace planning to do if Benny looks at his account and sees almost $9 million in there? That's I don't know. Okay. Then we get the next scene where he gets up and the money falls out of his pocket like an idiot. I mean, I feel like I think that scene could have been better written because basically Melissa took the rap saying, hey, that's my money. I was hiding it from Veronica. Hannah's like, oh, put it in the bank. And Benny, you help her find a place in the morning. Another asshole Benny scene. It's just, why is he being like that? And I love how Hannah has Melissa's back, but at the same time, it's just like, why is Benny being written to be such an asshole? I'm sorry for my language too, but I have no other word to describe him. And in a cute scene, did anybody notice how Melissa was looking when she kind of smiled and gave Benny the money back and was like, he's like kind of oh, okay, hey, you didn't have to cover for me, but thank you. Don't worry, tomorrow I'll help you find a place. Oh, with that money, I know you can help me find one, Big Daddy. And did anybody kind of see that way she was smirking when Benny left? She's into Benny. No pun intended, but she likes Benny. I just like the way she was looking. I like the way she was looking, but that little smirk she did, clever play. I like that. A lot of words said with only one facial expression. So thumbs up with that. And then, of course, I already talked about, Benny showing up to the bar and his reaction to finding a dead body. How he kind of jumped back, put his hands up. I do the same thing when I see a roach, a spider, or a mouse. So I ain't even gonna lie. That was pretty funny. But talking about the other scenes here, kind of going through the notes. We already talked about Oscar. Like I said, this video is all over the place. Jim pretty much denying the fact that he has children by Celine. Remember, he has Carlos and I believe, what is it? Jimmy, James, the youngest son by Celine. And Catherine pretty much, despite the fact that her son slapped her halfway across the room, the fact that she still has hope that she can save him, that's amazing. So Catherine Cryer, MVP for that. That was pretty awesome. But then she goes over to the condo. My question is this. So if Wyatt has zero money in his account, why is he going to throw his phone across the room and break it, knowing he can't afford a new one? Yeah, that was pretty dumb. Basically, he's coming down from his high. Even his mom points it out that you don't deserve to have all that money because you can't handle it. Pretty much, it's interesting because She said the same thing to Amanda way back at the ending of season 1 when she was still bedridden after her whole cancer surgery. And, Amanda was saying how she wanted her inheritance, but no, Catherine called her out for that quick because, she said you couldn't handle the money because I think she was talking with Hannah about this. Like, I wouldn't give her that inheritance money because Amanda would just give it to the first person that asked, or Wyatt would just smoke his way through it. And she's not wrong. She is definitely not wrong about that. But the fact that, Jim pretty much doesn't acknowledge the fact that he has 2 sons by Celine, that's pretty interesting. Because, as Catherine said, that's my only living child. And Jim's like, that's my only living child too. Wrong. So let me just put it this way. The heart stopper of the episode for me was Wyatt making it clear that he was aware that his mother had cancer during season 1. And as Catherine's like, how did you know that? Oh, I know a lot of things. Wyatt, what have you been smoking? Because is it just me or, okay, so a couple episodes ago or last week, after being strung out on drugs all night, woken up by Vinny to get the ATM, go to get his money, and then killing Vinny. I don't know why. I don't know how much drugs Wyatt was taking, but basically you're telling me that him being in a strung out state is making him more intelligent because, number 1, cleaning up a crime scene, number 2, revealing to his mom that he knew about the cancer and all this other stuff. So it seems to me that Wyatt in this drug-induced state is more intelligent than normal Wyatt, or normal Wyatt is a lot more intelligent than we have ever seen because we're usually seeing him in a rehabilitation state. But my question is this, and a phrase you're used to me hearing, I'll do another video on it. How in the world did Wyatt know his mom had cancer? Because remember, she was suffering with cancer before the show. And that's why I need to do a separate video, because some fans of the show probably heard that line. They're like, wait, what the hell? When did Catherine have cancer? Way back during season 1, people. Way back during season 1. We have never heard of the cancer since season 1. Again, season 1. Back in 2013 and like the first part of 2014, this almost been 5 years since this cancer was brought up. That's crazy, right? So remember that Wyatt was in Veronica's rehabilitation program for addicts and whatnot. So he wasn't at home. This was during the time when Jeffrey was watching him like a hawk. Anywhere Wyatt went, Jeffrey had to go. So how would Wyatt have known that his mom had cancer? But like I said, hey, I mean, we even saw some of his intelligence way back in episode 1 where he was lurking around the house at night, finding alcohol. And that's when he saw Candace and Jim walking out of his study late at night. And he was right about those 2 sleeping together. So Wyatt, like he said, there's no telling what he knows about. But all I'm saying is this. People are saying this every week that, hey, Wyatt might have been the one that killed Amanda. And I have to admit, you never know. But let me just say this much. The fact that Tyler Perry, dug up a treasure chest full, I'm sorry about that. He dug up a treasure chest with clues and stuff we haven't seen for a few seasons. The fact that Catherine's cancer was brought up after all this time might indicate that a lot of the things that myself, as well as a lot of other fans, have assumed that Tyler Perry either wrote out of the show or forgot about, he's going to bring them back. So the fact that Jim said that my only living child, that might suggest Celine, Carlos, and Jimmy, his little son, might be coming back into the show at some point. So I might do a video. I know I did one a long time ago, but I might do a redo of that video talking about all kinds of plots, storylines, and characters who have just disappeared from the show. And based off the fact that the cancer was brought up after so long, that might suggest that all those other things might come back into the show in some way, shape, or form. So be on the lookout for that video. But basically, it was hurtful because it seemed to me that the fact that Wyatt was like, I wish that cancer would have killed you. It's like, I knew about the cancer, but I didn't care. And I'm just like, damn. It seemed to me like Wyatt's words did more damage to Catherine than anything that the cancer did. So I felt really bad for her. And let's see here. I'm trying to think if there's anything else before I get to the two big parts of the episode. So we talked about Hannah, Derek, Benny, Candace, Oscar. Yeah. Basically, Candace pulling a Dorothy from the Wizard of Oz, talking with the Scarecrow, the Cowardly Lion, and the Tin Woodsman. I'm guessing that Gia's the Cowardly Lion because she's like, what am I going to do without you? You taught me about how to do this game, how to deal with these guys. So basically, Gia is the Cowardly Lion because she's afraid of moving forward without Candace, which makes zero sense because as Gia stated the first time she handed over money to Candace and she only gave her like $100, it's like, why am I, what am I working with you for? It's like I was making more money doing it myself. Yes, Gia she was better off without Candace. The only thing Candace had was basically teaching her the tools of how to manipulate people and play in the big leagues. But aside from that, Gia was doing okay for herself. So why is she still so afraid to do her own thing? Then you had the Tin Woodsman, RK, and thankfully it is RK, not arcade, because I paid attention to the end credits of the episode. He's like, we got this good thing going on here, and without you, I just made the first $10,000. I made $10,000 just now. And to be fair, I don't really see why RK is making that much noise because he just got into this game. Remember that Rocky was the one that recruited him, even though Candace didn't want him a part of it. So, well, in a way, I can kind of imagine, you just got employed for a job and you saw the application and how much it's paying and all this stuff and some of the requirements. And then you get hired. And then as soon as you do, the person that hired you or the one that made the rules just quit. So somebody else is going to have to make the rules and the conditions aren't as good as what you applied for, if you followed me on that one. Then you have Rocky, who is the Scarecrow, because, he was the last one in there. And he's like, oh, I'm going to miss you most of all. Yeah, I got a problem with that. So we do know that Rocky is going to talk with Oscar. And again, my mom called it before I even thought of it in the next episode. And we know in the upcoming episodes, Candace is going to end up beating him up with that crowbar or the pipe, just like she did to Oscar. So I will admit that he does have valid points. It's like, okay, so you came up and then you're just going to leave. And then that's why RK is like, well, how do I come up? How do we come up like you? And I will talk about that scene in another video in more detail because she gives tips and hints to everybody. But when it comes to Rocky, he's like, we help you get the money. Correct me if I'm wrong, but RK wasn't in that game. It was Gia making sure that Oscar kept his computer open. Rocky took the photos and then sent those to Candace so she can, and not to mention, Rocky was the one that fixed the drink for Oscar. Well, actually, I'm sorry. He was the one that gave Candace whatever the hell she put in Oscar's drink to knock him out so she can access the accounts and get the money. So yeah, and then that also begged the question of, Rocky didn't tell Candace what she gave Oscar because she told RK usually he informs her of what, he did to spike a drink or whatever. So that was something that made me raise an eyebrow a couple episodes ago. But what I'm saying here is, well, I'm sorry, RK was involved when you think about it, because if it wasn't for him, Oscar probably would have died. So Candace does owe him a cut. And that leads to what I was saying earlier with the Benny situation. Candace is doing the same shit with lying about how much money she got. She's told Benny that it's only thousands when it's actually millions. She didn't tell the, Gia, RK, and Rocky how much it was, but basically it was enough for her to come up. And it was messed up how she did Rocky, because remember a few episodes ago when Candace called him about, the guy at the bar, make sure you take photos. She told Rocky, because he's like, oh, another scheme? She's like, yeah, if this plays out, you'll never have to run another girl through this hotel again. Meaning that the payoff would have been enough for Rocky to, either stop whoring around girls at the hotel or retire himself. So Candace built it up like they were all going to come out on top of this. The only benefit was that, like, I think Rocky was trying to give Candace her cut from the past 24 hours, but she's like, no, keep it. So basically her payoff for these people was literally walking out of their lives, but she'll be around for advice, kind of like a professor preparing the students for finals. Like, hey, you know what? I've taught you everything I can. You're on your own, but I'll be around in the classroom for the next few days if you want to come up to me and ask me for any tips and hints. So Rocky isn't too happy about that. But like I said, I feel like I've talked about that subject enough. That's going to have its own video. Then we get to the finale of David and Erica. I have to admit, David, older guy, I definitely need to start hitting the weights more. The fact that he has like toned arms and everything definitely makes me feel like, you know what, I need to get up, hit that gym some more. But I love the scene between him and Erica. It was cute. Erica looked cute in that pink robe. You know, she has a nice smile. And basically saying how what did she say? I need a break or something like that. For number one, I thought it's like, okay, maybe it's because of the Veronica thing. She needs a break from this craziness, so she wants to leave. Or she was about to reveal the truth about why she's actually there. But no, we find out it's about sex because David has been like a hound dog. Weird. So it's like, I've had more sex with you in the past week than I ever have in my life. So did you and Warlock not dance the tango a lot, Erica? Is that what you're saying? But then we have David proving Veronica right, because remember, Veronica told Candace, who told Erica, that David is paranoid. Like, he'll be checking, if a checkbook or anything is out of place, he'll freak out. He has a green light. He'll check for fingerprints. And this episode proves it, because the thing is, I never accused David of being like paranoid, but if anything, being married to Veronica for so long has made him that paranoid to begin with. So the fact he just shut it down and ran downstairs and literally went on an Easter egg hunt trying to find whatever bugs that Veronica left. And like he said, I probably didn't get them all. And then it's like, oh baby, yes. And then the explosion went off. And like I predicted, it wasn't the house, but the vehicles in the front yard. When Veronica drove by and was smiling, me and my mom, this episode had us in tears 3 times from laughing. From the Justin making dinner, Benny's $85, then that fool Veronica pulling a waiting to exhale by burning the vehicles. I was done. Guys, this was an episode. So, you know, after talking about the good and the bad, I feel like this episode deserves, I'm going to give it a 9. I feel like a 9 is a solid, 9 out of 10 is a solid score. But one quick thing I didn't say at the beginning of the video, how did Veronica find Jeffrey's place? The only way I could think of is the fact that, actually 2 things. Number one, did she follow Justin knowing that Justin would follow Jeffrey? But in the last episode, Monica, I think, was the person she was speaking with on the phone. Basically saying she wants to track everything that David and Jeffrey have been doing. So probably by tracing the phone, she was able to find Jeffrey. But remember, Justin left the door open when he walked back in to, you know, make out with Jeffrey. So that's probably how she easily opened the door and whatnot, because this condo was something David hid from Veronica under a fake name and everything. That's where he went after she burned down the house. So I will be doing several videos in the upcoming days, you know, trailer breakdown once it's up online, talking about Oscar getting Jim's money back, talking about Candace getting out of the game, basically breaking down the scene with Gia, Rocky, and RK, talking about how Benny will get out of the situation, how far will Veronica first push David before he acts, has Jeffrey been leading Justin on, is Celine returning, the Easter egg video I was talking about, what if Derek family meets with Hannah, and then, you know, why knowing about the cancer. So I got some videos on the way, guys. So if you haven't done so already, I urge you, click that subscribe button as soon as possible. Share this video around. Get this channel out there. There are millions of people that watch the haves and the have-nots. So this channel should definitely be hitting 50, 70, 100,000 people in no time flat. So let's make it happen. But thank you so much for hanging in there with me. Episode review was longer than I thought, but it was a enjoyable episode to watch. I will definitely say that. So be on the lookout. Theory videos are on the way.